So first of all, a picture of the euro area, a small map, and in the green shaded countries you see the euro area countries represented, the countries that have already adopted the euro. And in terms of numbers, it means that the EU as such consists, the European Union, of 27 member states, and the ECB and the national central banks that have adopted the euro area comprise the euro system, and the euro system comprises at the moment 16 member states that have adopted the euro. The latest ones were Slovenia in 2007, Cyprus and Malta in 2008, and Slovakia in 2009, and Estonia will join in 2011. Now, what about the regulatory framework? First of all, the ECOFIN Council, which is the Council of the Finance Ministers of the European Union, they decide upon the fulfillment of the relevant criteria that are necessary for being able to join the euro area, to take over the euro as the currency of the country. And these four criteria are basically price stability, budget stability, exchange rate stability, and interest rate stability. And all these four criteria have to be fulfilled before a country can take the euro as their currency. And with regard to Estonia, in July 2010, the ECOFIN Council decided on the adoption of the euro in Estonia on 1st of January 2011. And this was basically the precondition to start any serious preparations, any preparatory work for Estonia joining the euro area. A lot of work could already been done in preparation for this, but the actual work could only start after the decision of the ECOFIN Council, such as the printing of banknotes, for example, or the conclusion of any formal agreements with Estonia with regard to the changeover. The second important legal framework to be mentioned here is the ECB guideline on the euro changeover, which was first issued in 2006 and then amended in 2008, taking into account the earlier experiences of changeovers. And this ECB guideline in particular regulates the provision of currency to the joining national central banks. Secondly, the front-loading and the sub-front-loading exercises. And I will say a few words about all three of these issues. First of all, provision of currency. And as I mentioned, I will concentrate on banknotes in this context because we are mainly concerned with the supply of banknotes to the new member states. First of all, how should we determine the requirements of the new joining member states? Because we have to have a good idea about the number and the value of banknotes that we have to supply to these countries. And in this context, we have to take into account the requirements not only for the launch but also for the first 12 months, for the first year, because we would like to cover the whole first year with our first supply of banknotes. Secondly, we have to take into account the current volume and pattern of banknote circulation. We have to look whether this country which is joining is more cashless payment oriented or whether it is very much cash oriented. And we have to take into account, and this is a particular difficulty, the differences in the denominational structure of the banknotes of the joining country and of the euro. Because when you look at Estonia in this case, the 500 krone has a value of around 32 euro. And we know that the highest denomination of the euro is the 500. Now it's pretty difficult to determine or to assess the requirements for 50, 100, 200 and 500 euro in a country where the highest denomination earlier on was an equivalent of 32 euro. So we have in the meantime some experience with other countries, and therefore we can make some estimations and assumptions about these figures as well.